I blew up my account trying to day trade 3 times. And once I took it from 6 grand to 50. I thought I was going to be a full time trader, but I gave it all back. I restarted and I couldn't break this cycle of losing. That's when I got fed up and I built a boring little option selling system, one that pays me 5% a month, takes 15 minutes a week, and gives me my life back, allows me to step away from my computer and hang out with my kids, do anything else I want. So, over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through this exact system, the one you can use to sell options for consistent monthly income. No more day trading, no more predicting where stocks can go, and more importantly, seeing your account drop every month. No more sitting in front of the screens all day long with your heart rate racing at 140. So, more importantly, today, I'm going to show you the math of what you can actually make, the 3 stage flywheel that makes this possible, and the rules I've developed over the last 5 years that strictly tell you how to size, how to enter, which stocks to use so that you can have the best chance to succeed. In an actual live trade, I just closed recently on Ethereum. So if you have at least $25,000 and you're looking to be more consistent, this is the number one training you should watch to the end. Here's the part nobody tells you about day trading. Even when your strategy works, you still lose because the skill you actually need has nothing to do with the charts. So let me walk you through what actually happened to me because I think a lot of you have either been there or you're heading there and you need to hear this. So back in 2018, when I took that 6 grand account to $50,000, I was crushing it. I had rules, I had entries, and I was following them. It was a system that felt like it would never stop working. But once I hit $50,000, I remember thinking, okay, this is it. I can quit my part time jobs. I can be a full time trader. And honestly, if I just had $100,000, I'd feel way more comfortable. So I started pushing it. I started sizing up. I started taking trades that were against the system I spent years creating. The worst thing happened at that time. I lost my mental edge. I lost my emotional control. These are the principles that got me there and got me successful. And within a week, maybe 2 weeks, I lost my whole account. I had 5 to 7K left and I had to rebuild a small account over again. And it was frustrating because it didn't work out. I had to do it again. I had to do it again. And this cycle never ended. And I realized something important in that moment. The strategy worked. The strategy got me to 50 grand. It got me there a couple times, in fact. But the problem wasn't the strategy. The problem was it requires something else to be successful. You have to master 3 things at a time. The most important one being emotional control. And if there's a 1% chance that you're going to lose it that day, have a bad entry, and then snowball into a even worse trade, even a bigger position size, even bigger loss, if that 1% chance is always there, if you're trading for 1,000 days, what's the chance of you blowing up your account? It's pretty high in the long run. So, no matter how much success you have, no matter how high your account goes, there's always that small chance you can absolutely go back down to 5 or 7K like I did. So, if you are, let's say, an anomaly and you can master your emotions, the second thing you have to do is master market conditions because your strategy works in this market and the market flips. What do you do? How do you adapt? You really need 3 strategies in your system: flat market strategies, bull and bear market strategies. If you can't adapt and switch those on and off instantaneously, you're going to have these periods where you just struggle. You just lose it. And if you lose your emotional control, that's where everything breaks down as a day trader. And the third thing you need to master is position sizing because when you start losing control, when you start losing in general, you need to size down. You need to go smaller. You need to take a break. If you can't figure out when to do that as well, that's where everything can fall apart. So, again, here's the math nobody talks about. You have $1 million trading account and you're day trading, and one day you just get emotional. You just take a bad trade, leads to another bad trade, and another bad trade. Like I said previously, even if the chance of that is 0.0001, the more days you day trade, the more you are doing this full time, the higher chance you have of making just a dumb emotional decision where you could risk the whole account, your financial future. So you never want to be in a strategy that relies on your emotional control. And that's where option selling can greatly help you be consistent because it doesn't rely on you being a perfect human being and making perfect decisions every day. Because look, option selling was built completely different. When you're wrong as an option seller, you never take losses. The stock could drop 30 or 50% and you just stay in the trade. But day traders, they don't have that choice. They don't have that margin of error. If they're wrong, they're taking a loss. And sometimes you're wiped out in seconds. So here's the shift that changes everything. Instead of trying to predict where a stock is going, you get paid for being somewhat right. It doesn't need to go up. It doesn't need to go down. It doesn't need to be flat. You just get paid literally every single day. The option is decaying, whether you're right or you're wrong. At the end of the trade, you're either going to get paid the full amount or you're going to get the stock and you're still going to get paid the full amount. So it's a win win. There's no scenario where you could theoretically lose in this trade if you pick the right stocks. That's why inside this video, I need to unlock that skill because it's the cornerstone of your success. Because listen, when you're trading stocks, swing trading, day trading, you're guessing on a direction. You're pulling up a chart, you're looking at indicators, and you're trying to predict where it's going to go. And when you're buying options, on that trade, you need to be right in a certain amount of time, which makes option trading damn near impossible to make money on consistently. So if you still need to be perfect with your timing and your sizing and your emotional control under pressure, one of those things will break and your edge is gone completely. So that's the problem with trading. I just walked you through it. So now here's how option selling works. When you have an option that you sell, the probability is already calculated for your success. So before you even get started, you know if you're going to win or lose to a degree of certainty for that trade. And again, if a trade goes against you, you just own the stock. You're not taking losses. But some options, if you sell them correctly, already have a 90% chance of profit. So literally, you take the trade, 90% of the time, you're making money and staying in cash for the next trade. It's a beautiful thing to know out of the gate because there's no guessing, there's no worrying. That's how you sleep well at night with this strategy. Let me walk you through an example of a put we sold that didn't work out, but I want to walk you through how we turned it into a winner and how even if things go wrong, you're still going to be okay. So we used BITX to sell a put option. This is a leveraged Bitcoin ETF. It's 2 times leveraged. This means if Bitcoin goes down 2%, the leveraged ETF goes down 4. So it can be pretty dangerous in a volatile market. That means you're getting assigned really easily. So we sold a put option and we were collecting $130. In order to collect that money, you have to have a certain amount of cash sitting in your bank account. $1,800 was the amount of collateral needed. From that, we sold an $18 put. So that means we had to own the stock at $18. But what people don't look at is the option premium. You're always collecting that even at assignment. So that $130 lowered our cost basis to 1670. And what happened was Bitcoin tanked. The market dropped. We were in a war, and this allowed us to get assigned at that 1670 price. But what we did is sold covered calls, which is another way to just generate income. The beauty of the wheel is you are in cash generating income or you're in stock generating income. And as long as you pick quality tickers, you shouldn't lose over the long run. And here's what happened over the next 60 days. Bitcoin dropped, which means the BITX dropped 2 times. And at one point, we hit $14 for the BITX. That means we were down about 15% on our trade. And we were selling covered calls for about a $150 premium every single month we were in the trade. So while we waited for this to go back up, while we waited for this stock to make us money, we were collecting still 8% return every single month we waited, which again lowered our cost basis every month. So the first month we dropped our cost basis from 1670 to like 1520. The next month we got down to the 14s. And wouldn't you know it, Bitcoin ran up dramatically. and BITX pushed to $20, which means we collected almost 30% return over the 3 months of doing this system. So if you do it correctly and you get assigned, it's not a loss. In fact, it can be your biggest win if you are understanding the next steps. So let's unlock some of that today. The number you're aiming for is 5% a month. Some months you do better, like the BITX example. Some months you might do a little bit less because maybe the markets went down. But five is the baseline. And I know that sounds not very sexy, because some strategies you can double your money in a week, maybe 1,000% in a year, but the chance of blowing up is much higher. So if you go down to zero and you restart, trust me, getting to becoming a full time trader is much tougher. Restarting is the worst thing you can do. So let's do the math. With 25K, you're looking at $1,250 per month. 50K, $2,500, and at 100K, 5 grand. This is the threshold where you start to look at replacing some or all of your full time job income. And past 100K and beyond, now you can be a full time option seller. You don't have to work ever again. This is the threshold where everything becomes possible. And the thing that surprises people is it only takes 15 minutes a week. You get your time back. You get a way to replace your income without getting another 9 to 5 job. Day trading is the worst, most stressful job on the internet. I don't know why people go down that route. And I want you to actually sit with that math for a second. Pull up a compounding calculator, see where a $25,000 account would go if you put in 5% growth every month for 5 years. You might be at $1 million. More importantly, if you didn't have to reset, you're going to reach your goals much quicker. People don't realize that if you're going back down and having no growth, no progress, it's much harder to get to your goals, much harder to replace your income. So the comparison isn't, is 5% better than what a day trader makes? Because think about it, day traders make nothing. Most of them actually lose. The real comparison you need to tell yourself is, what other income stream pays you 5 grand on 100 of capital with 15 minutes a week? I haven't found one. And that's why I think you should start learning this. Start putting yourself in a place to become great. Now, let me shift the gears for a second, because the mechanical stuff is one thing, but I want to talk about these two lifestyles and what it actually feels like, because that's the part that decides whether you can do this long term. So here's what people don't tell you about trading lifestyles. It's not about the money that breaks you. The stress, the cortisol, that also comes into your family life, your kids, your wife. That trickles down into everything around you. Because listen, when I was day trading, I was glued to the screens every single minute, max stressed out. And I left the computer and I carried that to my kids and my wife every single day. And I felt like a failure because honestly, I was doing all of that stressed out and not making any money. Every tick of the chart was a dopamine hit or a dopamine crash, and it was hard to stop. I couldn't walk away, even if I wanted to have lunch with a friend. I wasn't able to. I was too afraid I was going to miss the next big trade of the day. So I wasn't running a business. I was running my nervous system and experimenting it on myself at max. So here's what a week looks like selling options. Literally only 15 minutes a week. I'll wake up Monday, Tuesday, look for my down day entries on my favorite stocks, things I'm actually pumped to own. So I put the trades on, close the laptop, and in some cases, I'll put my good till cancel take profit order. That way, I don't have to worry about missing a take profit moment. That way, I'm making money while living my life. So I'm certainly not watching the markets every day. I'm not checking the app every 10 minutes, and I'm not jumping on the phone every time it buzzes with a Discord alert. No, the trades run themselves. And before I put the trades on, I understand the math. I have a 70 to 80% chance of staying in cash making money and a 30% chance of owning a stock that I really like. So this allows me to be present with my family, allows me to be able to not watch charts all day. But when you're day trading, it's the exact opposite. You carry stress all day long and then you can't sleep at night. When the markets close, you're still stressed out. So it's not just a part time job, It's your whole life. It's every single second. Day trading is not the route because it steals everything from you. And that's something people don't get. It's much bigger. Option selling is the most important system to get your time back. It's deliberately boring. And some people can't be successful because it's so boring. Here's what happens: this system is incredibly boring, and people will make money every month with it. It's no rush, it's no jackpot moment, and the trades don't trigger a nervous system reaction like day trading does. And if you don't have those dopamine hits, sometimes people can't stop chasing them. And then they give up their option selling profit, and sometimes more than that. So, if you're gonna do this system, you have to make sure you can be bored. If you have free time all day long, make sure you know where to put it: in your family, in your hobbies, in nature. Who knows? If you don't have somewhere to put your time and you do something in the markets when you're bored, don't sell options. Just get another job somewhere else, honestly, because free time is something you're going to have when you sell options. But if you use it poorly, you're not going to be successful. Okay, let's talk about the actual system. We call it the Capital Flywheel 2.0. It's designed and reiterated to be able to take advantage of different markets. So I know if you've watched YouTube videos, you might have heard of option selling. And listen, you might have tried it, but I guarantee most of the people that have taught it to you have taught it the wrong way. The most basic, dumbed down version: let's sell covered calls in Apple. No, that is the worst approach you can take option selling. And I guarantee you, selling Apple covered calls will make sure your returns underperform index fund buy and holds. Meaning, if you just bought and hold index funds, you make more money than following the gurus telling you how to do the wheel. And what they do the other side is they give you the worst stocks to do the wheel with. And they tell you can make the most income. And it seems like you can, but all it takes is one market drop and you're stuck bag holding stocks for 70% losses. So either you're doing the safest stocks making no money, or you're doing the riskiest stocks, eventually getting a bag hold of the worst positions in your portfolio. So there's a middle ground, and that's what the Capital Flywheel 2.0 is. And this helps you basically use the best stocks, adapt to the right market conditions, and understand when to do them strategically. So let's go in each step of the Capital Flywheel and show you how we're different than everything else taught on the internet. All right, let's go through the three stages of the wheel, plain and simple. You sell a put option, you're getting paid money for the cash you have as collateral. This is cash you need to buy the stock if the market drops at the strike price of the option. So it's a win win. You get paid, or you get the stock and you still get paid. Stage two of the wheel is where you get assigned you own the stock, like we talked about with BITX. But if you choose the quality stock, don't panic. This is your best chance to make money, like we just outlined. It helped us produce 10% months versus 5% months. So getting assigned is actually a gift if I teach you how to do it strategically. Stage three is when you sell a covered call and the market goes past that strike price. That's when you lose the stock and you go back to cash. So the next morning on Monday, you're going to wake up with cash and no more stock. In this case, you start doing the wheel again with cash secured puts. I love this system because it puts you in cash in most market cycles most of the time, which means you're in a safer position. It's better not to be in stock. It's better to have the ability to get the market to give you a discount, to get your stock at a discount. So this helps you generate more income and do it safer. So being in cash is actually a gift. Don't be afraid once you lose your stock. So you might have heard of the wheel in the three stages. That is boring. Everybody can teach that. The reason you're here today is you want to know the three variables I've integrated to make this exponentially better. Three times more income than traditional option selling. So if you implement these three variables and understand them correctly, not only will you increase your income, but you'll do it without increasing your risk. So the very first variable is picking safe stocks. So Apple is too safe for one reason I'll get into. Reddit is too risky. So you want to go in the middle zone. And the middle zone is mega caps, companies that are the biggest. So 1 trillion market cap, 500 billion market cap. The key here is you need to check their implied volatility. If it's under 50%, you use their leveraged ETFs. And this is a pro hack we teach all of our students. So Apple has 12% IV, or I think 20. The leverage ETF has 40. It's still not enough premium. So once we hit 50, we can sell options. But the point is, even though Apple's the safest stock in the world and has a leveraged ETF, it's still not enough implied volatility to make 5% a month and do it safely. So the next thing we look at is Google or Nvidia, and those do have leveraged ETFs. And those do have IVs within our threshold of 50 to 100%. Within that box, we're crushing it as option sellers and doing it safely. And again, the worst case scenario is we own Google and Nvidia, but they're just going to be discounted. They're just going to be the leveraged ETF versions, which is not a bad thing. So, number one, if you use our stock picking process, you're going to crush it with these next two steps and overall with the wheel. Because number two is picking the right option to sell. This is an option that is making 5% in 30 days, which means you're using expiration dates that are exactly 30 days around that area. And what you want to do is find a strike price that can generate a 5% return on capital. So if a strike price is $100, you multiply that by 5 and you want to collect 500 bucks. That's the key to making 5% return. You literally won't make 5% a month if you don't sell 5% options 30 days out. So that's the key for option selling. And now here's the secret sauce. Here's how you make money quick and go back to cash, which is the beautiful thing about what I'm going to teach you. You don't have to be in a trade every single day to generate 5% a month. You can strategically wait for entries in the market. So, for example, NVIDIA might have a green day, might have a flat day, might have a red day. You only sell puts on red days because this increases your safety. When you sell an option, you have a buffer between the strike price and the price of the stock. Meaning, if the stock market drops and the stock drops, there's still an area between where you are break even and profitable to where you own the stock and you might have a loss. This buffer allows you to sell options at all times and still pick up a stock at a discount. And this helps you not lose money because you have that buffer. And what we do is we just add on a down day buffer. So if the markets drop, that increases the discount we would get for owning the stock. So if you sell a put option, you typically have a 10% discount before you break even. But if the market drops 5%, that's the threshold you want to focus on to enter your trades. This gives you, instead of a 10% discount, 15%. So make sure you only enter on down days. I'll give you an example of a trade we put on just yesterday because it's fresh in my mind. NVIDIA has a leverage ETF, NVDL. We love that company. It has a good trend, it has solid fundamentals. At this point, it gave us a discount. I think it was down 4% yesterday. So we sold a put option 30 days out, making 5% return. And the beauty was the next day we hit our profit. We got out of the trade, and it's not a typical exit you would think. We don't exit the trade at 100% return. No, that last little bit of money is the hardest to pick up. So, what we typically do is get out of a trade in a couple days, hitting half of the premium. So, it's a 2% return overnight. 2% return on cash one day. This gives you 20 trading days over the month to hit your other trades. Again, this allows you to hit 5% or more. Being in cash can push your returns up substantially if you enter the down days properly. So we're in and out of trades much quicker than most people because of this one pro hack. And this trade helped hundreds of traders get an easy win this week in a pretty tough market. And that's it. 15 minutes a week, one entry, one down day, one option, a chance to get an early exit and redeploy. Get into the next trade the next week. Repeat this. This is the simplest system you can use to be consistent. And in fact, over the last year, we haven't seen a losing wheel trade inside our coaching program. And there's probably no other trading strategy, no other system that you can learn that has a win streak that long, that consistent. And has helped hundreds of traders repeat this with us that can validate these trades With us, I want to be honest, the reason people fail is because when they're bored, they break the rules. The rules should be so mechanical, you can't screw them up. But we still find boredom leads to massive losses. And the goal of a system at the end of the day is to make it so mechanical, make the rules so strict, so easy to follow that your grandma could figure them out. She could make option selling income and have the time of her life in Cabo. So let's go through some simple to follow rules. Number one, never sell a put with more than 30% of your account. It seems high, but it's the right amount for a single position size, given we're dealing with Google and triple Qs, but just their leveraged ETFs. But even the safe stocks, they're going to drop 30%. They might drop 50%. That's why it helps to have some cash on the sidelines to put back in the stocks on a discount. So 30% is meant to protect you. But also, just because people sometimes get outside the rules when they're bored, they take a ticker they're not supposed to take. And so, if using 50% of your account on Reddit and it's a leveraged Reddit, well, you could lose your whole account or even the 50% you put in. So, be very careful going too much on your position size. Rule number two is to stick within our IV thresholds 50 to 100%. If you're going past 100%, that's an IV trap. You're going to own a stock and you're going to see a 70% dip. Happens all the time. And someone asked me in the coaching program today, Matt, I like Iron. Iron is a data center stock. Iron has 120% IV. That's a huge, even for just a single stock, but it's fine because AI, data centers, they have a lot of momentum right now. But there's a chance to use leveraged Iron, which is a 240% IV. You've got to be insane because if you think about it, IV is telling you how much a stock can move in a month. And if it's 100%, that means the stock can drop 100%. And if it's 200%, well, the math doesn't work out. It's just telling you that the drawdown could be literally to the ground. You could be seeing $1 for that stock price in the next month. So be very careful going past 100 IV and be very careful going under 50. You're not going to make any good returns doing that. Rule number three is simple. Once you hit half of your profit, take your profit, get out, go back to cash. Trust me, being in cash is going to keep you safer, going to help you sell options and be ready for more discount days. The worst thing you can do is try to shoot for 100% of that premium, and then you hold it, and you give it all up. The stock drops and you have to own it. When you could have just been in cash, taking advantage of that down day when it came. Now, here's the real point underneath all three rules. If you build a system that doesn't trigger your emotions, you don't have to master your emotions. That's the secret to all of this. Every rule I just walked you through is designed to help you remove the moment where you'd make a judgment call under pressure. The right position size is pre decided, the right stock is already figured out, and the right exit is already locked in. When the trade is running, you're not making emotional decisions. You already have a system telling you exactly what to do. Making things boring is the goal because putting emotions in your system at any moment can ruin your results. So, before I wrap this up, I want to be honest about something most people in this space won't tell you. This system is not for everyone. And if you're the wrong person for it, I'd rather you know it than find out in 6 months. So let me tell you who this is actually for. This is for you. If you're patient, if you're okay with 5%, and if you're trying to 10x your account, forget it. Go to day trading and meet me in 5 years when you're frustrated, losing money, and wanting to settle down to something boring. If you want income and not a casino, and you have 25K in the markets, this is for you because the math makes sense and this can be meaningful dollars. And honestly, if you probably already tried something else, day trading, swing trading, following a stock picker, you're probably already aware that there's easier ways to lose money and it's just not worth going anywhere else other than option selling. And if you want your time back, this is the only system that's going to help you do that and help you be consistent in the markets. This is not for you if you want to double your account in a year, if you need excitement every day to stay engaged in your portfolio, and if you can't sit in cash and wait for a good entry. If you need to see a setup every single day, trust me, this is not going to help you over the long run. So if you're having boredom and this is causing you to enter trades, And I want to be straightforward with you because ask yourself this: if you only had two trades a week max and you could still compound 5% a month, slow, deliberate, and boring, most people can't handle that. They start inventing reasons to take more trades, telling themselves that a mediocre setup, a risky stock is good right now. One, because they're just bored. And that's not how good systems should work. They're going to get ruined by people that make those decisions. The people who win with this system are the ones who sit on their hands. Go enjoy their life. Use their time strategically with their family, with their hobbies in nature, going on hikes, like I said. If they have to chase hypey tickers over 150% IV, that's where option selling is going to hurt you. So if this sounds like torture, this is not the system for you. If it sounds like relief, keep watching. So if I walked you through over the last couple minutes something that makes sense for you and what you want to learn, more importantly, a system that could pay you 5%, could maybe only take 15 minutes a week without the screen time, without the stress. If I could place that system in your hands, would you want it? If you have over $25,000, I would love to work with you. I would love to help you be more consistent, be more confident, and have a system that gives you your time back. All you have to do at this point is click the link below, fill out an application. You found a lot of value on this YouTube video, but what we give our students is an easy way to learn the wheel with the software, with weekly trades, daily live streams, and a community of winners that are already at 6 and 7 figure profits. If you can surround yourself with those people, there's no way you wouldn't get to your goals. So join the community, don't wait. The prices are going up, the system's only getting better, and this market is ripe for option selling today. So I'd love to work with you again. Fill out an application with the link below, and we'll show you how to run the system the way it's meant to be. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys on the next one.